Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
Doing all right over here.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal with some Lake Effect grown by our good friend Midwest Turps. And Lake Effect is a sativa-leaning hybrid cannabis strain. It's known for its complex citrus and pine aroma, typically test around 24 to 26% total cannabinoids. The effects of this is uplifting and cerebral because of the sativa leaning. Flavors and aromas are a mix of lemon, lime, sweet turpentine, that's weird, mint, and sour pine with the secondary notes of orange citrus and earthy hops. Its primary terpenes are caryophyllene, apinene. And the appearance of this is the buds are typically dense and light green, occasionally featuring darker green and purple hues mixed with the bright orange pistils and heavy coating of trichomes. And I'd like to thank our homie Midwest Turps and T for being on the show a bunch of times and also always hooking us up with some fucking amazing weed because they grow some crazy weed. And they also win a ton of awards for their weed.
They do.
But as I smoke, Mrs. Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, head on over to 8decades.com. That is EIGHT decades.com, our website where you will find our 8 Decades Cannabis Lifestyle brand. You will also find links to the podcast, some information about us and what our intentions are with our advocacy, links to donate to Last Prisoner Project, and all sorts of good products. So check it out. And if you sign up for our newsletter, you will get free shipping on your first order. So take a look. And if you're in the Chicagoland market, next time you're in your dispensary, check and see if we're on the shelf because we are in many local Chicago dispensaries.
And if we're not in your dispensary,
let us know and
ask
we'll
for
try. Ask for our products and
Yes.
we'll see what we can do to get in there.
Absolutely. Some exciting news. Our homie Midwest Turps is doing his Michigan versus Illinois, salt versus organics versus Synganthic on March 15th from 3 to 9 p.m. in the Pilsen neighborhood in Chicago. We were a part of it last year. We're going to be a part of it. I'm going to be a part of it this year. And this is growers will be battling for the category wins and one coveted overall winner title with serious prizes on the line, including a $1,000 cash prize award to the overall champion, plus premium nutrient packages and exclusive handcrafted awards. Returning from last year, though, the Sesh Bus Mobile Lounge will be on site, a fully converted tour bus where attendees can kick back and enjoy the vibe in a comfortable lounge setting. Also, food is covered by Hibachi Chicago. It's pulling back up, serving the crowd's favorite hibachi plates that were a huge hit last year. And I would tell you what, if you didn't go last year, you missed out because the weed selection on all the growers that were there handing out samples and having their genetics online for you to all take a look at was off the hook. It was a one big cloud in that place. And the venue was great, wide open venue. I don't remember where exactly in Pilsen where it was, but I apologize about that. But you could check Midwest Turps on his Instagram, and he should have all the information on there. But I tell you what, it was a great event. A lot of great growers, breeders, a lot of great vendors, and the music was banging too. And it was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of people, and I'll be there rolling doinks for people. Come check out the Weedman 420 Chronicles podcast table and the 8 Decades table, and we'll be there hanging out, having some fun, and enjoying the vibe that Midwest Turps and his people bring to this Midwest Turp Off Michigan versus Illinois. So super excited for that on March 15th. Come check it out, and hope to see you there. Come to the table and say hi. We'll roll you a doink. So, all right. The other day, you and I were outside with Yuki, walking in the yard, and all of a sudden we turn, and there's Yuki doing her business, pooping.
Yep.
And I looked like I always do for some reason. I always look and just look at her while she's pooping. I don't know why. It's the habit I think I've done with all of our dogs. And you look at her and you're like, will you give that girl some privacy, please? You're always fucking staring at her. Let that poor dog have some privacy and have some time for herself, because the moment you stare at her, she's on edge all the time. So Mr. Weedman did some research and found an article, why dogs stare at you, why they poop, and why we stare at them, why they poop.
Well, here's the deal. Yuki goes outside, and Mr. Weedman's in the window watching Yuki outside. And then Yuki's outside staring in our windows, wondering what we're doing. So she doesn't even just go outside and hang out. It's like the two of them are staring at each other all the time.
Do you want to know why I stare at her outside?
Why?
Because I was outside playing with her. But
You wish you
unfortunately,
were, right.
yes, and unfortunately, I'm working most
Right.
of, and she wants to go outside and play in her yard every minute of the day. And I wish I was outside playing
I
ball
bet
with
you
her.
do.
I
I
do.
bet.
I get jealous that she
She
goes
probably
outside.
wishes you were with her.
Oh, every second of the day too.
Yeah.
This dog does not stop when it comes to playing ball or frisbee or whatever kind of games we
Being
play.
outside.
Yeah, she just loves being outside. So, but I wanted to understand why, why we seem to stare at dogs or why they stare at you. So you're chilling basically on the lawn smoking a doink, right? And your dog just drops into the set position. And then boom, straight at you, that dog is looking right into your soul. It's basically a trance. It's basically like hypnotism. When they turn and look at you while they're pooping, you just stare back and it was like, "Wang." I'm staring right at you, Yuki. I'm sorry. So there's no judgment, no awkwardness. We're talking about dogs pooping, okay? But this might surprise you. And it's not that they're staring at you telepathically asking for snacks, or looking at you seriously enough and judging my life choices that I make. So it's what they say, trainers and scientists say, it's communication. So dogs we know are social creatures, right?
Yes.
Yes, very social. And they love their humans and the peeps that take care of them. And they've evolved to connect with us with eye contact in rich ways, right? Their stares are just beautiful. Dogs' eyes are beautiful. So, and when they glance up mid business, it's often about staying connected because you're part of their
Pack.
their pack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And letting you know they haven't run off in their own little world, kind of thing, right? So here's a little bit of the fun twist, though. Some trainers kind of touch on here. Where they're doing something vulnerable, squatting to poop puts them in a position like Mrs. Weedman were talking about before the show. They put you in a poop where they feel exposed, they feel naked. They like, oh, stop looking at me.
Gosh. Could you imagine having to go out in the middle of the yard to poop?
The poop?
Yeah. Behind a house, and everybody's staring out the window at you while you're pooping in the middle of the yard with nothing.
I probably wouldn't be able to
nothing
poop. I don't like.
You just hold it.
I don't like pooping in public.
Right.
Period.
Or dogs.
Yeah.
Why don't they like hide behind a shrub or something?
so they feel exposed and they can't see behind them, and they can't literally like just stop mid poop like while they're really actually pooping and run. So they glance at their pack members to keep the communication open. Like, watch my back, I'm pooping. Like when you're hanging out with my friends and in my younger age, and you're pretty buzzed up, and there's a tree, and you're like, dude, I gotta pee and I can't hold it. Will you watch my back? Kind of thing,
Right.
So you whip it out, and you pee in a tree,
Whip
and
it out. Whip it out and pee on a tree.
so
doesn't work for me. Sorry.
So there's no shame in it, no guilt, no weird judgment, just primitive connection, social connection that is basically canine saying, stay tuned, human. I'll be done in a sec. And then we can go back to playing. That doesn't mean every poop glance is super deep. Like puppies, they kind of look at you a little bit during this training kind of period because it could be like their first time going out in the yard to poop, so they're kind of nervous, or they're looking for like that good dog. You pooped outside. You didn't poop in the house. You didn't pee on the carpet. Good dog. And so it's a praise kind of thing with puppies. So your dog though is subconsciously wondering, though, did I do a good job? Before you even grab the bag to pick it up, right? Like we've had multiple
Look at me, I
dogs.
pooped.
Yeah.
I pooped. I pooped. Look at me.
And us as
Come over here. Come
us
see it.
as
Come see it.
they're humans
They like guide you over there.
get all excited about it though when they
Oh,
poop.
look at you pooped. Oh, that's a good
Poopy.
dog.
Good girl, good boy.
Oh,
You poopity poop
poopy.
poop. Good. When they're puppies, you talk to them like they're
Right.
little babies, right?
Yeah.
You did.
We
So
all
you-
have crazy, like, I think most of us probably don't want other people to know how we talk to our dog. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at the poochie smoochie.
Yes.
I mean, come on. You're
Yeah.
like, what
I
the
mean,
fuck did I just say?
There's so many people
How
that
did that
talk to their
just happen
dogs
to
like
me?
that in
Right?
private all the time. So expert trainers also point out, though, there's something hilarious. Staring back at them intensely isn't really the move, the right move to
Oh, so they're looking at you, but not expecting you to look at them.
Right. Dogs will read that as
Oh.
attention
Yeah.
or kind of weird, like, hey, why are you staring at me while I'm pooping?
I'm gonna bite you.
You know, a chill though casual glance or just giving them the space keeps them kind of calm and chill. So like even if you just looked for a second and turned away,
Mhm.
but not like do what I do, like
Stare and watch the whole time. Not that you're like watching her
I'm
poop.
not
You're not a
watching her poop.
weirdo.
I'm
But you
watching-
like
I'm
watch
looking-
it.
I'm
You're
looking
always
at her
staring.
eyes,
Yeah. Is
you
she
know?
okay?
Yeah,
Is my dog you okay?
I do.
Is she okay? Is she lonely? Does she need something? Is she okay? She's so pretty.
She's your
Oh,
baby. But
look at her
she's your-
fur shine in the sun. Oh, she's cute. Oh, I love her.
She's the
Like,
baby,
you just,
baby,
that's
baby,
what's going
baby,
through your
baby,
head, all
baby.
those things.
Yeah, she's the baby,
Yeah.
baby, as you say.
Yes. Yes. That has to go down the line of all the kids and pets we've had.
Yes, yes. So she's the
Baby,
last.
baby.
So the bottom line is the intense eye contact during poop is more about communication and connection than embarrassment or weirdness. It's kind of like, I'm still here with you, human. A tiny affirmation of pack loyalty, even during the least glamorous moments.
Oh, she's like, I love you. I'm gonna poop and I'm gonna come see you
I wonder how
and
many
let you
people.
tell me that you love me too.
Yep, you're gonna come pet me, and you're also gonna give me something that
And
I
a
love.
treat. I'm gonna get a reward. So she's kind of like, look at me, look at me, look at
Yes.
me. I'm pooping. Look, I want a treat.
Our dog, though, now looks for praise when she stretches.
Oh gosh, yeah. I had to stop praising the stretch because she was getting carried away. She spent probably like an eighth of her day stretching.
Stretching. Oh my God.
She
it was
literally kneels. She gets her whole body. She's like in a plank. She gets her whole back legs way out behind her. And she's literally like laying on her knees and her thighs. Like her abdomen is almost touching the floor.
ground, yes.
And then her legs are like her front legs are super straight and she puts her chin up.
Yep.
Like, look at me. And we call it
Stretching.
good stretchies.
My
And
favorite
she got
stretchy.
carried away. She was like stretching
Oh,
every time she
constantly.
saw you.
Yes.
She'd stretch. So
You
and
more
then I'm like,
more
I
so
think she's
than
gonna
me.
pull a muscle. She
My
needs to
favorite
stop.
stretch that she does is the couch stretch.
Oh, that's funny.
So she'll get off the couch
With her front
paws and go like almost the length of her whole body, and then take her back legs and stretches them off the couch on the couch.
Well, like they're on the couch
Yes.
flat out.
Yes.
Like flat out.
She has like a plank
Yeah.
on the couch and stretches her hips. And
It's
I
pretty
think,
funny.
I think it's good for her
She loves it.
because German Shepherds have bad hip problems and she's always stretching her hips.
Mhm.
Not because they hurt. I just wonder if
I think it feels good.
I just think it's, she's always constantly, the couch stretch is the best.
It's
She's
pretty
not
funny.
a downward dog. She's,
She does a little, like when she
little
gets up
bit.
from a nap, she does it.
yeah,
some
but
more.
she's mostly always stretching her back
Yeah.
legs, not
Mhm.
doing the downward dog as they see
She
most
does
dogs.
that like cat,
Yes, just the cat pose.
cow, cat.
Mhm.
Well, she doesn't do the cow part. Just cat.
Just the cat. So, but yes, we love our dogs, and hopefully our dog, and all of our dogs. Hopefully, you have a dog, and if you don't have one yet, and you're thinking about getting one, do your research on what breed works well for you.
And if
So-
you have a dog and you don't feel this way about your dog, it can change because Mr. Weedman has had other dogs. Well, you were super, super close with your dog growing up, Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea, she was the best.
But our dogs, when we had kids, you were like kind of
I
indifferent.
love
about.
Maxie.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand Paco though.
I know.
Because the dog shit and pissed all over my shoes. Or he'd leave it deuced by the front door when I come home from work and I'd step in it. That dog was always marking on
He
my-
was a little asshole.
I don't like male dogs, and he wanted to be the ruler of the house, and that little shit isn't.
So the two of you
we
had
fought all the time. We had a love-hate relationship. I was nice to him at times and played
7
with him.
pounds versus, yeah.
$1.85.
But he never
Yes.
backed down, that little
No,
guy.
that little
He was
shit.
feisty.
Oh, he bit me one time too. He did something wrong.
was
And I
scrappy.
went to go pick him up to just get him away from what he was doing. He took a bite out of my hand. I was
Yeah.
like, little bastard.
He didn't put up with anything.
No, he did not. He was just.
He was feisty.
He was a
He was
feisty.
smart too.
He was,
but he was a boss.
Oh God, drove me nuts.
Mm.
Drove you more nuts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've had many dogs in my life, and that was the only one I didn't get along with. I didn't beat him or do anything wrong with him.
I just didn't like him.
I just didn't like him. I didn't pay really much attention to him.
Yeah.
Maxie, though, was a different story.
Maxie.
She was great. She was a puggle. She was a beast. She was fun. She was goofy as hell. But this one here, Yuki, if you haven't seen pictures of her on Instagram that I
But
posted
she's
over
your
years,
dog. I think that's the difference too, is
she protects you.
When she was a puppy, we made it a point that
Yeah.
she was your dog,
Yes.
and we wanted her to follow your commands and be your
Yes.
person. And primarily, she is like
Yeah.
your. Like,
Oh yeah, 100%. But
she's
she
very much.
protects you.
She's very protective and concerned about me. But
Yes.
you are her person.
Yes,
I'm
and-
like her mama.
Yes, you're her mama. You do all the nice things. Clean her ears, clean her up really nice, give her baths.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what we decided. And I took her on and put 150 hours into this dog of training. And the training never stops with a German Shepherd. Every day we do some kind of training with her because that's what she needs. So yeah, it's kind of good. Hopefully you have a dog. If you don't, or an animal, a pet that you love. We all have stories about our pets. We all love our pets. We all have fun memories of pets that have passed. We've had birds, we've had lizards, we've had fish. We have
had 'em
2
all.
kids. So, I mean, we had hamster. We had a fucking parrot that we found in the bush.
Quaker parrot.
Quaker parrot. That was temporary.
That was
though.
we
That
were
was
just
foster. Yeah, we
until
fostered that
found
Quaker
his
parrot.
home.
Yeah. We've had countless numbers of budgies, and I've loved them all. They were except for one.
Not countless,
One,
but we've always had one.
1, 2,
4.
4. No, 5. They were-
Oh, Sonny. He was a
Sonny.
little.
Well, Sherbert
jerk.
was worse.
Sure. Don't
Yeah.
get a yellow parakeet.
No, not a yellow. The green and yellow parakeets.
Yellow green. Just do blues, do
the
white.
blues or whites, yes.
Yeah.
The greens, for some
Purple.
reason, are not very nice.
We haven't had
We haven't had success.
the 2 that we had the least success with were both yellow green.
Yep.
And the ones that we had great success with were one was albino,
Yeah,
one
well,
was
Turk.
one was like a reverse coloring, Vega.
Vega. Yep.
He was like white and purple.
And then Bongo.
And Bongo was like a tried and true
Yes.
blue budgie.
Yes. And Bongo.
He was he was like the creme de la creme. He
Yeah.
knew it.
Yeah.
He knew he was
He
pretty.
was funny. They were all good. I mean, like I said, we've had really good birds. But like I said, when you have kids, you get a little. They always sucker you into buying more pets.
Oh my gosh, some of the dumbest pets. Like seriously, we're buying this thing right now.
The lizard was
In a week, they're going to be bored with
Yeah,
it.
the lizard was.
That thing was dumb.
No, I had to take care of that thing. I didn't want to.
Fucking cricket.
Yeah. So if you have kids out
Ugh.
there and they
You
make
know
you
the
buy
pain.
a pet,
You know
the
the pain. Mom, please, I'll take care of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'll do
okay.
everything. I promise. Please. I really want it. Come on. Oh my God.
So many.
Fish.
Oh yeah. Fish I didn't mind because I like taking care of the
Yeah.
fish tank. I didn't mind that. I couldn't stand taking care of the hamster because I got stuck taking care of that and I didn't want to.
Ugh.
And I got stuck taking care of the lizard and I didn't want to either. So
Yeah.
those were the worst. So you ready to get the show started?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Alcohol versus CBD. Which is worse for your blood pressure? We're starting with a juicy one right now. Alcohol versus CBD, which is worse for your blood from Very Well Health. This one drives into how booze and CBD hit your cardiovascular system. And honestly, it gets kind of interesting when you break it down. Picture this. Your favorite strain, maybe a chill CBD gummy or tincture, then a nightcap. How does that all interplay with your body, especially your blood pressure? Well, the article lays out pretty clear contrast, and spoiler alert, alcohol tends to be worse. So first up, alcohol. Most people don't think about blood pressure when they're clinking glasses, but alcohol has what they call a dual phase effect. That means right after that drink, your blood pressure might dip a bit, like that relaxed buzz you feel. But over time, and especially with regular or heavy drinking, your pressure goes up. It's a body's way of responding to the stress booze puts on your heart and the vessels. So while the first sip might feel nice, consistent drinking is linked with higher long-term blood pressure, a major risk factor for heart disease. Now slide over to CBD, especially isolates without much THC or no THC at all, doesn't carry the same blood pressure baggage. In several studies, CBD has been shown to lower blood pressure by widening your blood vessels, like opening the lanes on a highway so the blood can cruise right on through. And for a lot of folks, that calming effect on both the mind and body helps cut stress related spikes too. But, and this is important, the article makes it sure to mention that your baseline matters. If someone already takes blood pressure meds, adding CBD could potentially lower blood pressure too much if it's not done carefully. So it's not a green light free for all. Talking to your doctor is still a good move. Here's another key point. Alcohol doesn't just mess with blood pressure. It's tied to a whole suite of risk we talk about on this show all the time. Liver stress, dependency, impaired memory, and more. CBD side effects are usually way milder. Bit of fatigue, maybe some digestive stuff in some folks, but generally not the same league of harm that alcohol carries. So what is it here? What are we getting at? If you're choosing between winding down with drinks or winding down with CBD for your stress and blood pressure, the science and very well health leans towards CBD being less of a burden on your cardiovascular system than alcohol. But like anything else that affects your body, it's not risk-free and should be used thoughtfully. So imagine you're chilling on your couch with a CBD edible, maybe a playlist low in the background, and you're just relaxed without the next day baggage. We all know the baggage I'm talking about. The fucking hangover. Versus, waking up sluggish with a pounding head after drinks. We're not here to judge anyone's choices. I am not here to judge no one. But the science definitely gives CBD some positive points, especially when your ticker and pressure are part of the conversation. Right, Ms. Weedman?
That's right.
Hangovers suck.
Yeah. No, thank you.
All right. Mrs. Weedman was talking to her mom a few weeks back about THC, THCA, the hemp laws, doing a fantastic job with it. And then after Tutu left, Miss Weedman goes, "Did I say everything kind of correct?" I'm like, "Yeah, you were spot on. It was really good." She goes, "I still just get confused sometimes of like what, you know, hemp is and what THCA is and what's all this stuff. I get confused and I know what I'm talking about." So I'm like, "Listen, here's a small little short article. We've talked about this many times, but this is just quick little
Mhm.
spurts, I would say, in this article, right? Like
Yeah, and
state.
we talk
Yeah.
about the mass confusion that's happening, and even we, two people who are constantly talking and having conversation about cannabis and spending a lot of time with our minds in the space of cannabis, both high and conversation.
Yeah, it's true.
I can't always keep it straight. There's cannabinoids, there's terpenes, we have an endocannabinoid system, there's THC, there's THCA, there's CBD, CBG, CBD, it just goes on. It's growing. The vocabulary is expanding, and it expanded faster than education. And so there's a lot of confusion. Uh, I have to go to a dispensary to buy weed. Then how come I can get it in the gas station? And how come I can get it at the health food store? I don't understand it. It says THC, it says THCA. What's the difference? What is this? What is this? Nobody knows. And it's just you hemp and marijuana is how we've separated it in the world. Hemp is less than 0.3% THC, and cannabis sativa or marijuana, however you want to refer to it, that is your plant that is grown for dispensaries and what people have been smoking and consuming for years. The hemp plant is just a different strain, right? They're the same plant, just like tomatoes. You have a beefsteak, you have an heirloom, you have a cherry tomato, you have how many different, Campari tomatoes. There's so many different.
What the hell's a Campari
That's actually a
tomato?
brand. Aroma tomato. How about
There you
that?
go.
So you've got all these different brands of tomatoes and they perform differently, right? They have different profiles and
Yep.
different
Textures.
textures and shapes and
Taste.
smells and
Yeah.
tastes. Same thing with cannabis. You've got cannabis sativa for weed that's in a dispensary, and you have the hemp plant that is grown for industrial use and CBD product. And we can go on, and then it gets confusing because then you have distillates and they're stripping out some of these things, So it can be so simple, but it is also so complex. So this is a short and sweet article that maybe can clarify some things for anyone that is wondering. So attitudes and laws around hemp products have changed drastically in the last decade, and certain state and federal laws still place many hemp-derived products in a legal gray zone. So Where is that blurry line when it comes to THCA versus CBD? THC, flower, the law, and how does it vary? Well, let's look at THCA and THC. What's the difference? When looking at hemp products, you may automatically assume that THC and THCA are the same thing. THCA is a mostly non psychoactive compound found in raw cannabis. THCA may provide some of the same benefits as THC without the overt high. THCA converts into THC when treated with a heat source, and it is not legal in all 50 states. Is CBD legal everywhere? CBD derived from hemp is federally legal under the 2018 Farm Bill, provided it contains less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC. Does this mean that you can easily access all CBD products in any state? Not quite. The 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized CBD at the federal level, does not cancel out an individual state's controlled substances access. Several states have placed restrictions on smokable hemp or ingestible CBD products, though enforcement and interpretation vary and continue to evolve. Also, a 2025 spending bill is set to change the federal definition of hemp in November of 26, which could further shake up the market. CBD has many potential health benefits, such as aiding with sleep, easing aches and pains, and alleviating stress. And it is just one of the many helpful compounds found in the cannabis plant. What is hemp? Hemp is a variety of the cannabis sativa plant. The plant is known for its long and strong fibers and is used in industrial applications, textiles, fabric, and more. CBD can be derived from the hemp plant flowers, and its seeds are abundant in nutrients and used in supplements. Hemp has a low psychoactive content, and it's not used in the same way as marijuana. Both plants simply hail from the same family, leading some to mix up their identities and purposes. Cannabis sativa is an often misunderstood species, with a wide range of industrial, medical, and recreational applications. Although marijuana hails from this plant, it does not mean that every compound derived from it will have overt psychoactive effects. Very important. CBD and THCA are mostly non intoxicating in their raw forms, and hemp refers to cannabis cultivated for low THC content and industrial or wellness products. But these other compounds do not hold the same effects, and they are often conflated, despite having distinct legal and functional differences. It's important to learn all that you can about the differences between the common cannabinoids like THCA, THC, CBD, so that you understand what you're buying, what's best for your overall health, and what's best for your body.
Love it. What's best for my body? Light up that joint, we'll find out.
Okay.
This article rolls into something that's perfect for what you may use cannabis for: anxiety,
Mhm.
daily life, and the science behind why some folks reach for the plant when stress knocks at the door. This article from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health tackles the idea of therapeutically motivated cannabis use for anxiety. Basically, people using cannabis not just for recreation, but with the real intention around stress and anxiety in their lives. So first up, let's set it straight. This isn't about stoner cliches or jokes about forgetting where you left your keys. It's about why some people reach for cannabis when anxiety pops up. The motivations, patterns, and what the research is trying to figure out. A lot of people aren't just imbibing because it's Friday night. They're treating it like a calming tool, a stress buffer, something that helps them function through the day without panic snatching their focus. The research looks at daily use, not just weekend chill sessions, but real world, routine cannabis consumption specifically tied to anxiety relief. Folks are self reporting that they're using it to smooth out stress, anxiety spikes, even chronic worry that feels like it represents part of your internal soundtrack. And this article tries to get it into the why of that. What pushes someone from occasional use to more frequent anxiety focused use and how that shapes the overall well being. Smoke break.
Mhm.
Ah,
Tasty.
oh, Midwest Turps, I love you. Now,
See ya.
let's keep it real. The science around cannabis and anxiety isn't clear cut. Some people swear by it, saying a little CBD vape or a low THC joint after a long day feels like an emotional massage for the brain. Did you hear that? Low, low, low THC. Not 37% or taking a 95% vape cart and fucking making your fucking anxiety go through the roof. So, it feels like an emotional massage for the brain. Others find that too much THC can heighten anxiety. Yep, that's the opposite of what you're trying to do. Kind of like chasing calm and ending up wide awake at 3 a.m. The article touches on the nuance. The effects depend on dose, strain, individual brain chemistry, and even mood going in. That's a big one right there. Like when you go to smoke
Mhm.
and you're in a fucking like not in the right headspace, sometimes this ain't the right thing to do.
Sometimes, though, it
It
is an
could be the right
immediate
thing to
it's
do.
absolutely an
Yes.
immediate shut off of those feelings.
Yes. Just depends on what you smoke,
Yeah.
strain, type, THC percentage. To me, it's like
How much you have. Yeah.
terpenes that are in there, like
Mhm.
what it's gonna make me feel like, I know I've smoked a lot of strains in my life, and I know the strains that I like when I'm in that mood, you know? Um, Skywalker OG has always been one of my faves to get me into that. Like, if I'm not thinking head straight and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna smoke a little of this." Ooh, I feel like Luke Skywalker.
I didn't know he had a feeling.
He does now. Oh, man. And researchers here aren't just collecting anecdotes, they're trying to categorize patterns. How often, why, and with what expectations people are pulling out of the cannabis versus reaching for the other coping tools. Is it stress at work? Is it a social anxiety? Past experiences with anxiety meds? The study digs into how people self regulate with cannabis instead of or alongside other therapeutic avenues. One of the key points is that motivation really matters. If someone uses cannabis because they believe it helps their anxiety, that belief, whether it's scientifically solid or not, influences how they use it. We're talking expectancy effects, habitual routines, psychological reinforcement loops. It's almost like your brain has two dialogues. Will this calm me? And I think this calms me. And both shape how you reach for the product over time. Mrs. Weedman and I have had a ritual now for a very long time. Every night, like clockwork, when we're together, every night at around 10:30, 11 o'clock, we pop our edible in. And then 15 minutes later, Mrs. Weedman will roll a joint, or if it's not already rolled, we're lighting up, right?
Mhm.
And then about an hour, 45 minutes, an hour later, we're getting ready for bed. And in that period of time, that calms me for my day. My body's ready for sleep. Like last night, we smoked a little bit too much runs. Thanks, Igneous. And I walked, and I hadn't smoked yet. And I hit this joint like 7 times really fast. Didn't take a break. Next thing I go, Miss Weedman, I think I smoked too much. And what I do, I
Mhm.
came in late on the couch with you and
Mhm.
just snuggled up with you
Mhm.
on the couch and watched Family Guy and laughed my ass off.
Mhm.
My body was limp, but it put me in that mood to go to sleep. I
Mhm.
was ready. I was like, all right, hell yeah, let's go. Bedtime. My
Yep.
bed was calling. So I want you to imagine two users. One who pops a CBD gummy before a big presentation and feels like the world just got a little softer. And one who hits a 30% THC strain after a deadline, stresses, and ends up tossing and turning because, yep, anxiety spiked inside of syncing. The contrast highlights why the article isn't saying cannabis fixes everything. It's saying, let's understand the personal context, dosage, expectations, and reasons behind use. I'm going to give you a story before I finish this last 2 paragraphs. I smoked too much last night. We went to bed. And I got in my fucking own head
Mhm.
at midnight last night and was up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Could not fucking sleep because I was, and Mrs Weedman saw because I started getting the fucking shakes. She's like, "What's in your head? What's going on? You're in deep thought." And I was. It was all about fucking work. And I'm like, and I try every night to not think about work because I know what it does to me. I won't stop thinking about it. And I was in my own head till about 2 o'clock in the morning. Woke up this morning to work out at 7:15, not happy because I didn't get a good enough sleep, and I was pissed because I was beating myself up because I was in my own head about something stupid that I could have fixed the next day. So simple. So yes, folks, know sometimes no matter what you smoke, and I smoke something that I'm used to, and I've smoked many a times, and it's helped me go to sleep, but I was in my own head. Click, turned it on. So, and while the researchers behind this paper are focused on patterns and motivations, they also hint at why this matters for broader public health. If people are increasingly using cannabis for anxiety relief, especially without doctor supervision, we need to understand how the behavior develops, what risk of or benefits it carries, and how it compares to other anxiety management strategies like therapy, mindfulness, exercise, or prescription meds. So, takeaway: cannabis as anxiety relief isn't simple, and people aren't all using it for the same reasons. Some find real help, others mind mixed results. And what matters most is how and why someone incorporates it into your or their routine. This article from the International Journal of Environment Research and Public Health shines a light on the complexity, motivation, expectation, daily patterns, and invites us to view cannabis use through a therapeutic context. Say it one more time for all the people in the front. Therapeutic context, not just a recreational one. There's a lot of people that use cannabis for anxiety, right, Mrs. Weedman?
Mhm.
I know a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I know I've talked to people that stopped smoking weed because it gave them anxiety, right?
Yep.
Paranoia,
Mhm.
which is, like I said, you get in your own head. That's where the paranoia comes from. I've said
Mhm.
that for 7 years, almost 7 years now on this show. But the anxiety is real. And like I said in that one sentence, like, who hits a 30% THC strain? And all of a
Right.
sudden your anxiety goes through the
Well,
roof.
sometimes I'll have too much. I don't feel too high, but I'm like, "Oh, is someone outside the window? Oh, is someone outside that window? Oh, what is that noise?" Where you like you're saying, like, you're kind of in your head, like, you saw something scary on TV, and then you're, like, scared to go to bed. I
Yes.
don't wanna walk in a dark room, like, and that's definitely not typical behavior. It's definitely the weed making you feel a little paranoid.
Yeah, and your senses heighten too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You sometimes
Oh,
hear things
sometimes my
miles
hearing,
away.
yes. Like,
What
"Oh
was
my
that? I'm
god,
like,
what was
I
that?"
didn't fucking hear nothing.
Yeah, I feel like a dog. I got sonar. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Something we talk a lot about on the show, and we've had in the past, Aroma. The most expensive mistake in the in cannabis right now is ignoring aroma consistency, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Miss Weedman. Great article by Rolling Stone.
For years, the large scale cannabis industry has treated aroma like a window dressing, something nice to have, but not exactly essential. Science tells a different story. Aroma isn't just aesthetic, it's fundamentally shaping how people judge cannabis and what they get out of it. A study called The Nose Knows basically validates what savvy customers or consumers have been saying all along. Satisfaction doesn't track with THC percentage nearly as much as it does with how the product smells. Researchers like Jeremy Plum and Dr. Ethan Russo led this work, and their findings are pretty straightforward. Quality registers through the nose before anything else, which makes sense when you think about it. Our olfactory senses have been an essential part of human survival and make some of the most poignant impressions on our minds. But here's where it gets interesting. Consistency in aroma matters just as much as the aroma itself, and that's something the industry hasn't caught up on. Walk into any dispensary, buy the same strain twice, and there's a decent chance those two jars will smell completely different. That's a problem. When expectations get shattered like that, trust goes with them. And once trust is gone, so is brand loyalty. Most of this inconsistency comes down to what happens after harvest. Drying conditions vary, storage isn't always climate controlled, extraction processes can be rough, sometimes irradiation gets thrown into the mix. All of these steps degrade or destroy the aromatic compounds that made the flower compelling in the first place. By the time a consumer cracks open that jar, the plant's integrity has already been compromised. Those volatile terpenes are temperature sensitive and frustratingly easy to lose. Here's where the conversation usually gets muddy. A lot of people incorrectly think terpenes are just flavoring agents or the latest marketing gimmick. The fact is, the collective aroma profile of a cannabis product sets expectations before the first inhale. And those aromatic compounds play a much bigger role in the actual experience than most people realize. Recent studies using EEG monitoring and sensory testing compared aromatic, terpene rich flower against high THC materials stripped of its aroma. The results were surprising. The aromatic product often delivered stronger, longer lasting subjective effects, even when its THC content was lower. That's not just fascinating from a research perspective, it shows terpenes influence how cannabis feels in ways we're only beginning to understand. And it highlights a serious gap in education, both for consumers and producers. Because of this, some producers have started treating terpene formulation as a core quality controlled issue. Companies like True Terpenes, Terpene Store, and Abstracts Tech are working with brands to stabilize aroma profiles across different product formats. The goal is simple: make sure consumers get the same experience every time, regardless of the batch. Retailers are the first to feel it when consistency fails. A customer comes back, buys the same product, opens it up, and it smells nothing like what they had before. Even if the lab results look identical, that sensory mismatch erodes confidence, and lost confidence means lost customers. Research out of Oregon State University has shown that cannabis aroma can be described using standardized sensory language, much like wine or chocolate. This isn't subjective mumbo jumbo. It's measurable, teachable, and can be communicated clearly between producers, retailers, and consumers. Retailers who train their bud tenders to discuss aroma rather than defaulting to THC percentages end up making better recommendations. Better recommendations lead to happier customers who come back. Brands that deliver consistency build loyalty instead of watching consumers drift away after one disappointing purchase. The cannabis industry spent the last decade chasing THC numbers like they were the only metric that mattered. It was a lazy shortcut, and it hasn't served anyone well. Not consumers, not producers. The race to the highest percentage created products that look impressive on paper, but don't always deliver in practice. Aroma consistency offers something different. It's grounded in sensory science. It's about predictability and trust. As Russo and other researchers have pointed out, the cannabis experience isn't a one molecule show. It's an interaction of cannabinoids, terpenes, and other compounds working together in what scientists call the entourage effect. Protecting those delicate, volatile terpenes preserves the complexity of that interaction. And when you preserve complexity, you open the door to real consumer satisfaction and long term retention. The brands and retailers who take aroma seriously and back it up with science, consistency, and clear language are the ones positioned to stand out as this market matures. At the end of the day, people come back to products that deliver the experience they're looking for. And that experience starts with a familiar, satisfying aroma that meets their expectations every single time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good article.
Well written.
Follow your nose. It
'Cause your
always
nose knows.
Toucan Sam's famous line.
The nose knows.
You like Fruit Loops? You know what I'm talking about.
Toucan Sam.
Follow your nose. It always knows.
It always knows.
Political state and business news. An op-ed argues that America doesn't actually have a marijuana crisis. What we really face is cannabis education, training, and regulatory problem, not a weed problem. The piece says we normalize widespread use without building clinical and institutional support to manage it responsibly, layering decades of stigma with knowledge gaps. And that's where the real issue lies, right? As we man
Mhm.
that you were just talking about.
Mhm.
Florida marijuana legalization campaign got a little slammed with a major setback. Under a new state election law, the nearly 800,000 signatures gathered for the 2026 ballot were wiped out and reset to zero for the 2028 ballot cycle. Governor Ryan DeSantis changes make activists start fresh each cycle and add stricter petition rules. And while legal fights over signature validity continue at the state Supreme Court. Poor Florida. Fucking love you. Cody.
So
Colby.
frustrating for them.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh, my goodness. South Dakota lawmakers voted to eliminate the state's medical marijuana oversight committee, calling it unnecessary layer of bureaucracy. The panel that once helped guide the state's medical cannabis program could be disbanded, a move critics says undermines patients' oversight and throws regulatory clarity into question as legislators reshape how the program is managed. Michigan's legal weed scene felt a chill in January. Sales dropped about 16% after a new 24% wholesale tax kicked in, on top of existing taxes, and a brutal winter kept shoppers inside. Retailers say December's buying spree before prices jumped made the slump feel even steeper, raising questions about how pricing and policy shake out in the tough months. Kansas lawmakers unveiled bills to legalize medical and adult use cannabis that would channel huge cannabis tax revenues towards housing affordability and affordable childcare. The plan would carve out 40% of housing and 15% for childcare, aiming to turn a billion-dollar industry into social support funding. Supporters say it's a win for revenue and reform. Opponents still push back in the Republican-controlled legislature. New Jersey lawmakers introduced a bill to strengthen employment protections for medical marijuana patients. It passed employers couldn't fire or take adverse action just for a positive cannabis test or patient status. They'd have to show through evidence that just use impaired job performance. The change builds as Honing Act and aims to reduce workplace discrimination against cardholders. In Indiana, lawmakers let a bill to ban intoxicating and synthetic hemp-derived products die at a deadline after House didn't bring it to a vote, killing efforts to restrict Delta-8, THCA, and similar cannabinoids for now. Simultaneously, a proposal to cut early voting days also fizzed when it was taken up, leaving both measures stalled in the session. The Virginia House of Delegates overwhelmingly passed a bill to let medical marijuana patients use cannabis in hospitals. The measure would expand existing protections, now covering hospice and nursing homes, to include hospitals and create a health department working group on how to implement it. Backed by bipartisan support, it passed an eye-popping 97-1 vote this week. How do you feel about being that one person that voted against it? Like, would you hide your face and while everyone goes, shame, shame? Like, you're 97-1, right? You're that one jagoff, as we say here in Chicago, that didn't vote for it. It wasn't like it was something bad. It's like giving people weed while they're dying.
Right.
You're that one asshole.
You're the one guy who's like, no,
That one
that's bad.
jagoff.
That's bad for health.
That matter. They're gonna.
It's bad for the
Weed'll
public
kill them.
interest.
Well, they're fucking dying already. Give them something to live a little bit of life. What life they have in them. Man, that one person. An op-ed argues that simply rescheduling marijuana federally isn't enough during Black History Month, which was in February. This is now March. While cannabis prisoners remain behind bars, the piece stresses that rescheduling doesn't free anyone, clear records, or repair the racial harm that has been done for decades of prohibition. And meaningful justice requires action behind shifting federal scheduling. A state analysis finds that legalizing marijuana in Pennsylvania under Governor Josh Shapiro's budget plan could bring in nearly $500 million in annual tax revenue by 2028. Projections assume a 20% wholesale excise tax, 6% retail tax, and licensing fees, with sales starting January 1st of 2027. But lawmakers still have to actually pass legalization this session. That's all the government wants it for, folks. It's their cash cow. 20% tax and a 6% resale tax. Ooh. Oh. Plus, probably they'll let the municipalities put their tax on it too. Yikes. A virtual medical cannabis clinic called Leafwell is pushing towards health insurance coverage for THC treatments. Founder Emily Fisher says the lack of standardized clinical guidance leaves patients without support. So the company serves about 500,000 patients and hopes the federal rescheduling to Schedule 3 will help normalize and expand employee-based cannabis benefits and coverage. Now passing the joint over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, I've got some more political, state, and business news. Oklahoma lawmakers filed a bill that would let counties impose up to a 15% public service impact tax on cannabis retail sales. But taxes wouldn't kick in automatically. Instead, each county would need voter approval. That's fair. In a special election, the revenue could help fund local services like law enforcement and fire departments. Virginia medical cannabis sales topped 15 million in January. We're moving right along. An amendment to delay the federal hemp THC ban aimed at giving farmers more time and industry stakeholders breathing room before restrictive new regulations kick in. Won't get a vote at the 2026 Farm Bill hearing. House Agriculture Chair Glenn Thompson signaled, calling it not relevant to the bill's focus. This dims hopes for a one-year postponement. 47 Wisconsin Democrats filed Senate Bill 1045 to legalize adult use and medical cannabis, letting adults 21 and older possess regulated amounts and grow plants, while also regulating intoxicating hemp products with age limits and cannabinoid caps. The bill would set possession limits, include medical registry, and bring age-restricted hemp into a clearer, regulated framework. That is a big shift in the Badger State. The first ever THC sober bar, called Bar None, debuted last weekend in Chicago's West Loop. It'll serve premium zero-proof cocktails and THC-infused beverages for a buzz without booze. I screwed that up. Perfect for the sober, curious crowd or anyone who just wants a different kind of night out. A new poll shows Texas voters disapprove of how state officials have handled marijuana and THC laws, with 40% saying no thanks, while only about 29% approve of the current approach. Efforts to legalize or regulate cannabis have stalled in the conservative legislature, and voters aren't exactly thrilled about it. Michigan's recent marijuana tax experiment should be an urgent warning to other states. The state's tax increase could harm workers, the legal market, and taxpayers if lawmakers don't reverse course. Critics urge states facing budget shortfalls not to repeat Michigan's economic misstep by overburdening the cannabis industry with heavy taxation. Michigan State Senator Jonathan Lindsay just introduced Senate Bill 810 to eliminate the newly implemented 24% wholesale marijuana tax that took effect this year. He says the tax isn't necessary and could hurt cannabis businesses and jobs, aiming to revert to the voter-approved tax structure instead. Yay for him.
Yes.
Yeah, Massachusetts cannabis boss Shannon O'Brien is pushing to make the state a cannabis research hub. But so far, no one's even taken the available research license thanks to strict rules and red tape. She's seeking regulation fixes on research, vendor training, license renewals, and testing standards while keeping an eye on ballot efforts that could unregulate the market. Cannabis Teamsters at Cresco Labs Sunnyside Dispensary in Wyomissing, yes, that is really a place, Pennsylvania, I looked it up, Pennsylvania, voted unanimously to go on strike after the company failed to present a contract with fair wages, stable hours, and respect. Union members are pushing back hard in the rapidly growing industry, demanding livable pay and better work conditions, a sign of increasing staff power in cannabis. Marijuana kiosks are coming to independent living communities in Arizona, letting senior residents browse and order cannabis products from licensed dispensaries for delivery, with guided information right at the kiosk. The project by Life is Chill and Love Bud aims to improve access and education for older adults who might not make it to a dispensary on their own. Great idea. As North Carolina's 2026 primary election rolls on, a slate of candidates are talking medical marijuana legalization and cannabis policy reform, reflecting shifting voter priorities and races up and down the ballot. Hopefuls support establishing a regulated medical cannabis program, even as traditional weed laws remain restrictive in the state's legal code. That's it for me, and it's back over to Mr. Weedman.
Thanks, Mrs. Weedman. Lawmakers in Louisiana are floating a pilot program to test adult use cannabis legalization, letting existing medical dispensaries sell recreational weed under the Adult Use Cannabis Pilot Program Regulation and Enforcement Act. If approved, sales could begin next year and run through 2030 under the Health Department oversight with a 3.5% fee, a cautious first step towards broader legalization. The California Cannabis Award is rolling out a new home grow flower competition, giving backyard cultivators a chance to show off their personal cannabis harvest and compete for medals using the same lab-tested terpene and cannabinoid criteria as commercial brands. The entry window runs through May 22nd, with Golden Bear honors and bragging rights up for grabs at the state fair. Oh, that'd be fun. A bill in Oregon that would have forced stricter packaging rules for marijuana edibles. Remember we talked about this? Including individual wrapping at 10 milligram THC caps per piece. Get ready. It died in the legislature, so SB 1548 aimed to prevent accidental child ingestion, but opponents called the mandates costly and burdensome for producers. With no vote, the market keeps its current edible packaging regimen. Nebraska medical marijuana advocates are passing ahead after a volunteer notary was convicted of official misconduct over petition notarizations tied to the 2024 campaign. Campaign leaders say voters approved legal cannabis and it's time to implement it, not keep arguing about signature technicalities. Opponents have appealed ruling to the Nebraska Supreme Court, but the program's rollout continues. In New York City's Corona, Queens, a Manhattan woman plastered flyers of her missing pup, Appa, on weed baggies, trying to spark a buzzkill stoner hoax. After he vanished, the unusual tactic drew attention, even hoax claims, before it turned out someone actually saw the pup running down the street, adding confusion to the search of her beloved dog. Like the old milk carton days, right? A Milwaukee County judge publicly griped about a smell of marijuana wafting through the courthouse during a sentencing hearing, calling it inappropriate and still illegal under Wisconsin law. He quipped that anyone who thinks smoking before court is a good idea needs a reality orientation, and reminded that the indoor smoking can carry up to a $250 fine. A new Quinnipiac University poll shows a majority of Pennsylvania voters now back legalizing adult use marijuana, with 56% in favor and 37% opposed. Support runs strongest among Democrats and independents, while most Republicans still oppose it. The survey comes as lawmakers debate legalization proposals, and voters are clearly ready for reform in the Keystone State. With a federal ban on most hemp-derived THC products looming under new law, former Rep. David Trone and alcohol industry stakeholders are pushing Congress to regulate rather than prohibit these popular cannabinoids, including THC beverages. At a wine and spirits wholesaler event, they warned the looming ban could upend the hemp and drink markets and urged sensible regulatory frameworks instead. Chicago area dispensary owners warn a last-minute murky state cannabis rule change has left them on edge, unsure how to comply and scared it could force relocations or closures. They're asking for clear written guidance and transition time for regulators, saying the confusion hits small shops hardest while big chains can absorb the legal headaches more easily. Maryland senators approve a bill to protect firefighters and rescue workers who use medical marijuana while off duty by stopping employers from penalizing lawful medical use, as long as they're not impaired on the job. The proposal aims to balance employee rights and public safety and shields first responders from discrimination for responsibly using cannabis in their personal time. Good for you, Maryland. In Alaska, the HB 91 would phase out the $50 per ounce cultivation tax and replace it with a 6% sales tax, as growers call the current structure existential threat. Prices are dropping. Black market ounces run about 100 to $150, and $5.5 million in back taxes is owed. Revenues fallen from $30 million to $25 million. Lawmakers warn reform means short-term losses, but no change means losing the legal market. The U.S. Supreme Court yesterday is weighing the United States versus Hamani, a case testing. This is now Tuesday. Sorry, I should have said this first. Tuesday, March 3rd. Monday, March 2nd is when the Supreme Court weighed the United States for the Hamania case testing whether federal law can bar people from using marijuana from owning firearms under the Second Amendment. Justices seem skeptical of treating ordinary marijuana users like dangerous criminals, but the dispute over the vague unlawful user ban could reshape gun and cannabis rights for millions of nationwide. How about if you're going to ban cannabis users, you better ban alcohol users then too. It's as simple as that. Because I've seen more people on alcohol shoot people up than I have on cannabis. So you better, like, this is our Second Amendment right. It doesn't say in the second, you have the right to bear arms against an unjustified government, meaning the tyranny of government is why you have the right to bear arms. And it doesn't say in there you have the right to bear arms, but you don't have the right to bear arms if you smoke marijuana.
Right.
Just says you have the right to bear arms against a tyrannical government. So if you take drugs, or if you're just going to do it for marijuana, then you better pick all drugs and alcohol, because alcohol is considered a drug, right? So you better be real careful here, U.S. Supreme Court, on what your verdict is going to be, because I will call hypocrisy, and the Weedman suit will come out, and I'll go to the steps of the halls of non-justice and show them what justice really is. Dun, dun, dun.
You think you're a superhero?
I'm the
Which
Weed
one?
Man.
The Weed Man.
The Weed Man.
Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, shit.
It's like the Clark Kent thing, you know?
Yeah,
I'm with you all the time, so I forget that you're a superhero.
I know. I got to go in the closet and come out. Dun, dun, dun. I don't go in a phone booth. I go in a closet. And I come out. Oh, there's a lot of industry fighting in this fucking industry of cannabis that I'm in, and you're in, Mrs. Weedman. I've seen it, read about it, heard about it.
Yep.
There is so much infighting fueling this new prohibition. It's just it's just a scary thing to see, like how, like, a lot of people don't want you to succeed, or don't want you to do what you do, or big corporations is poo-pooing on you and making you, it's just sad. It's a business of what times have I said it, is business is for everybody to make money in. Everybody should get along, and everybody should work together to make this industry better. We're still fighting legalization. I've said it. They can come and take this away from us anytime they want. Federal laws trump state laws. We all need to stick together. And this article by Forbes, man, kind of says a lot. Tell us about it, Miss Weedman.
Yep. For over a decade, the cannabis industry assumed legalization was a one-way street. Victory after victory occurred at the state level with few exceptions. That momentum is stalling now as the industry faces a new reality. The muscle memory of prohibition is back, and the industry's own internal fractures may be providing ammunition to prohibitionists. In November 2025, the U.S. Congress effectively prohibited intoxicating hemp cannabinoids, leaving the sector scrambling for legislative fixes as the industry races to survive the new restrictions. Congress gave the hemp industry a year to comply with the ban. The hemp industry is hard at work trying to get legislation passed to save themselves. As of now, no such legislation has become law. Simultaneously, coordinated efforts in Massachusetts, Maine, and Arizona are working to repeal adult use laws and dismantle legal retail markets. These campaigns are largely driven by SAM Action Incorporated, the political arm of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, led by President and CEO Dr. Kevin Sabet. SAM Action's $23 million fund is targeting marijuana repeal. It's not a small-time operation. According to 2024 tax filings, the organization reported assets exceeding $23 million.
That's crazy.
In Massachusetts, the Coalition for a Healthy Massachusetts received $1.55 million, the entirety of its funding, from SAM Action. According to filings, with the Office of Campaign and Political Finance. Dr. Sabet has been transparent about using this war chest to reverse legalization. In a video announcement posted to X on December 18th of 25, Dr. Sabet stated, "Now, today, for the first time, I can also announce our multi-million-dollar support for 2 grassroots campaigns to end marijuana sales and commercialization in Maine and Massachusetts." The House divided narrative is most visible in the conflict between licensed marijuana companies and the hemp industry. Marijuana operators burdened by licensing fees, high taxes, and the IRS Section 280E have lobbied to ban hemp derived THC, labeling these products as unregulated and a threat to children. By adopting prohibitionist rhetoric to attack competitors, the marijuana industry may have inadvertently validated Sam's platform. If the industry itself argues that certain cannabinoids are a public health crisis, Dr. Sabat's organization simply extends that logic to the entire plant. Maryland and Missouri are examples of the cannabis industry's self-sabotage. Their discord has moved into the courts, often with unintended results. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parson's 2024 executive order to ban hemp-derived THC, labeled adulterated and poisonous, followed a $50,000 donation from MoCan Trade to Uniting Missouri, a PAC established to support the governor's political agenda. While the order was stalled by legal action from the Missouri Hemp Trade Association, by early 2026, a coalition of 20 licensed marijuana companies filed lawsuits against nearly 60 hemp retailers for unfair competition. Similarly, Maryland saw a landmark legal clash where the Maryland Hemp Coalition sued to stop the state's licensing caps, arguing the system created an unconstitutional marijuana monopoly. That effort backfired. In September of 25, ruling the Appellate Court of Maryland not only upheld the license caps, but also declared that intoxicating hemp products have always been illegal in the state. This legal theater may have provided a proof of concept for Sam, showing that the industry's own litigation and rhetoric can be used as a hook for broader crackdowns. While Missouri and Maryland provide stark examples of industry self-sabotage, the infighting has been happening all over the country since at least 2024. Adam Smith, executive director of the Marijuana Policy Project, is working with marijuana licensees in Massachusetts and Arizona to fight back. MPP has been the nation's leading voice for cannabis policy reform for 30 years, said Smith in an email. From what we've seen, the majority of license holders in Massachusetts and Arizona recognize the existential nature of these threats. We strongly believe that everyone in the cannabis ecosystem needs to find a way to contribute resources to the common defense. The repeal efforts in Arizona, Maine, and Massachusetts may serve as an industry wake-up call. If the cannabis and hemp sectors continue to prioritize short-term market share over a unified regulatory framework, they may find themselves in a world where there is no legal market left to divide. The broader industry may need to consider a peace treaty, a shift toward unified standards for all THC products regardless of botanical source. As the old adage goes, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And Sam may be holding the keys to the bulldozer.
That damn Sam.
Damn, Sam.
Damn,
the
Sam.
fuck?
Yep. Mind your business.
Yeah. Well, they think this is their business.
Yep.
They've made it their business.
They have. International news, a UK medical cannabis registry did a new study for 124 adults with insomnia, found cannabis-based medical products were linked to better sleep quality, reduced anxiety, and improved mood over 18 months of real-world use. Only about 9% reported mild side effects like fatigue, and none were serious. Suggestions that treatments may help where conventional drugs fall short. though more trials are needed. Germany conservative CDU adopted a motion calling for a reversal of the country's cannabis legalization, demanding that the Federal Cannabis Consumption Act be repealed and prohibition reinstated. What is wrong with you? The proposal, driven by the party's Front Union, aims to pressure lawmakers to roll back reforms, though critics argue public support for legalization remains strong and the political consensus is unclear. Canadian retail sales hit a new record in December of last year, rising to 503.7 million, up 5.3% from November and 2.9% year over year. More stores and lower flower prices are pulling buyers from the illicit market, and British Columbia saw especially strong annual gains. Even as some provinces lag, the milestone shows legal cannabis demand still climbing in Canada's regulated market. Two House panels in the Philippines approved a consolidated bill to legalize medical cannabis, steering long pending measures into one comprehensive proposal that would allow medical use, expanding compassionate access, and lay out regulation and research frameworks. Committee's on Dangerous Drugs and Health Pact it Thursday, marking a key step toward legal medicinal cannabis in a country where the recreational marijuana remains tightly controlled. Costa Rican prosecutors raided Hybrid Farms, a medical cannabis operation tied to a $100 million court battle in Austin, seizing computers and phones in the environmental probe over alleged wetland damage near Val de Course. The raid adds an international twist to Travis County lawsuit between investors and has both sides gathering evidence as legal fights unfold on two continents. India is launching a first cannabis-based medicinal project in Jammu, backed by Union Minister Jitendra Singh and CSR-ILM through a public-private partnership with French firm. The initiative aims to turn the stigmatized plant into export-quality medicines for pain, cancer, and other illnesses, and now in advanced testing from human trials to begin. Just make bang. Just all you need to do. Bang.
Hmm.
That's all you got to do. 7 years after Guam legalized recreational cannabis, the island finally has two licensed cannabis grows approved by the Guam Cannabis Control Board, Pacific Cultivation in Deep Green, Guam, making a milestone. But they still need permits to actually open and grow flower, leaving the regulated market technically stalled even as licensing moves forward. Uh, this is sad. A Romanian court has rejected hip-hop artist rapper Wiz Khalifa's appeal to overturn his 9-month jail sentence from cannabis possession after he
Hmm.
allegedly smoked weed on stage at a 2024 festival. The Constanta Appeals Court dismissed his effort to annul or suspend the sentence under strict local drug laws. It's unclear if Romania will seek extradition of the U.S.-based artist. Come on, Romania. You should just, like, take cannabis off your whatever laws out there, make it legal. One of my favorite actors of all time, Jack Nicholson. Watched probably all of his movies, seen The Shining 100 times, seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest 100 times. So many good movies. Such a good actor. Just don't know anything about his personal life. I really don't care. I don't entertainers are entertainers to me. I don't get involved what he does off the stage, but his acting skills and what he's done in acting and his plays his roles has been amazing, and he's a good actor.
Mhm, mhm.
So, but this is one time when he was on set and he liked to smoke the weed,
Yeah.
and someone said to him on the set, and I think they forgot who they were talking to though. You can't do that, right, Mrs Weedman?
They tried to tell him.
Yeah,
Yep.
tell us about it.
Yeah. Nicholson has been responsible for some of the finest film characters of all time and has done more on screen than most actors can only imagine in their wildest dreams. If you thought his fictional lives were wild, you should see what he got up to when the cameras weren't rolling. Nicholson was the nucleus of Hollywood's party scene in his prime. His house on Mulholland Drive was a veritable den of vice, filled with the best and brightest talent doing all sorts of things that would make a priest blush. The triple Oscar winner was no stranger to partaking in illegal substances. He supposedly once offered cocaine to Princess Margaret. And there's a rumor that he kept a stash of white stuff by his bedside so he could apply it to his stuff during sex. I don't need to tell you that you shouldn't try this at home. Another of the great man's socially unacceptable habits was weed. Nicholson had been an avid fan of marijuana, or has been an avid fan of marijuana for decades. most notably on the set of Easy Rider. His character, George Hanson, is a square lawyer who gets introduced to the devil's lettuce by his rabble-rousing clients. Hey, hey. In real life, the actor couldn't have been more different to his character. Easy Rider famously used real drugs in its scenes. Nicholson claimed to have smoked 155 joints while making the iconic movie.
Jeez.
According to a former co star, this wasn't the only time the screen legend lit up on a film set. Noah Wiley, who appeared alongside Nicholson and Rob Reiner's A Few Good Men, spoke about some of his workplace habits. All I ever heard him say out loud was, "Anybody mind if I have a left handed cigarette?" he recalled, and then lit up a joint right there on the soundstage. That was in 1992, back when you were not allowed to smoke joints anywhere in California, let alone on a soundstage. I remember just going like, "Oh, you can do that?" Unfortunately, he couldn't actually do that. Recreational marijuana wouldn't become legal in California until 2016. Even medical use of the drug was restricted until 96, when the state became the first in the country to approve it. However, if you thought this was going to stop Jack Nicholson, then you're probably high yourself. This is a guy who smoked weed on camera years before the first notion of legalization was even put forward. Just imagine what he was capable of when no one was watching. California has always been a refuge for recreational drugs, and Hollywood even more so. Given that Nicholson was an active campaigner for the legislation of marijuana, legalization, of marijuana, it makes sense that he was enjoying its benefits long before the ban was lifted.
Tell you what,
OG.
Mrs Weedman,
Mm-hmm.
you can't handle the truth.
I can't. Why?
You don't remember what? Oh,
Oh, that's a no. Geez, Louise, you should know by now. I don't remember lines from
I was
movies.
just about to say that too.
I
Yeah,
should have
I always
known.
forget you don't remember lines. A Few Good Men. You
Yeah.
can't handle the truth. Oh man,
Ay,
Mr.
ay,
Weedman.
slow over here.
Thank you, Midwest Turps, for getting me
Wow,
stoned
pretty
on
neat.
Lake Effect. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Still sticky. We've had it for a hot minute. Had a couple nugs that I had in a jar.
Oh my God, still sticky.
Still sticky.
Yeah.
A little dry, but still sticky.
Yeah.
So thank you, Midwest Turps and T, for throwing to the cause. Mrs. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman.
that's the end of the show.
All right.
Got anything else to say?
Have a great week, everybody. Stay well, and I think we're coming up on some time change, so we're gonna have longer days pretty soon. So we're almost there, everybody. Home stretch to better weather.
Yeah, better weather and also longer sun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you saw the red moon somewhere in around, send us a pic because I didn't get to see it because it was cloudy as hell all day today, unfortunately. So, but everybody out there, we love you. We need some peace. We need some kindness. We need some love. This world's in tragic motion right now. Again, we'll get through it. Better days are ahead. We just need to show some kindness and have peace with one another right now more than ever. We love you out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a ninth decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.